Hi, everybody. This is Katie Covey, and this is the overview for December 2022 Wonder Packet. There are 3 lessons and 2 multi-generational service suggestions, just because Christmas Day is Sunday, and we thought that you might not be wanting to do heavy work on that day, on Christmas Day. And in fact, we don't recommend it. So we give you 3 sessions for those 3 Sundays before, and then a couple of different suggestions. Now, here's what I can reflect on after my 40 years of being a religious educator, which is that I wanted my families to come to their church on Christmas Eve. It didn't have to be fancy. It didn't have to take a lot of prep, but I wanted them to be there to share the silence and the candlelight and just the carols together as a little family time before they go into the opening presents and all that stuff the next morning. So the multi-generational service that I include is the no rehearsal pageant, which we had a ball with for the 15 years that we did it. And we just would have costumes up in front and tell the story. And I included some pictures from those years in the link so you can see what a multi-gen, no rehearsal Christmas pageant could look like. One of my favorite memories is of the angels. That one year that's in the pictures, a mother, a grandmother, and her 2 daughters showed up all dressed as angels that year, and they were beautiful, and it was really fun. So there you go. There's a multi-gen service for you. The first thing I'd like to mention is that we can be overwhelmed by the cafeteria of things that happen in December. There's Diwali, there's Kwanzaa, there's Chalaka, there's Christmas, there's Hanukkah, all these things. And what we do as a theme-based ministry is to give you a through line. This year, it's wonder, to help interpret every one of those holidays. So it's not just, this is what Kwanzaa is all about. This is what Hanukkah is all about. It's what is inside of us that has to do with wonder. And then how do other peoples celebrate this? I've also invented a magic wand of noticing. It's called Abracadabra Noticeedema. Sort of Harry Potter, right? And that's because wonder happens just when we notice what's going on. The ordinary things are wondrous, aren't they? And we just need to notice. So that will help you if you want to use that for the Wonder Packet. Okay, the first thing, noticing the wonder around us. That's lesson A. That's the magic wand. And I wanted to mention the book I Wonder by Annaka Harris. It's definitely not a multicultural book, but the message of everyone wonders and we don't always know the answer is a wonderful um, way to open the dialogue about how the fact is we just don't know all the answers as Unitarian Universalists. And then there's the Sparkle Walks tradition, these beautiful books that Cynthia Rylant writes, all of them. She happens to write about a dog and a little boy and how their family at Christmas time takes a sparkle walk. And in the Google review was a professor from Idaho who says, I always did this with my family and it's beautiful. So I contacted him, got permission to put his sparkle walk tradition in, and wanted to share it with you. I think it's a nice possibility if you have a place to walk. Lesson B, the second lesson, is the wonder of inherent worth and the miracle of new life. This is, of course, each night a child is born is a holy night, which is a poem by Sophia Faz, excuse me. And that is one of the essences of the Christmas tradition for UUs. I recommend you find it and read it through the link. And then, of course, the link is to the baby Jesus, the wonder of new life, and hope is born, and how we feel that each time a child is born, we feel this hope and possibility. And I wanted to share with you also the idea I have for this type of dialogue and conversation with children is that I get out a creche or even several creches, depending on what you have access to and what children you have coming, the number of children you have coming. And we sit on the floor and we pull the camels and the donkey and the baby Jesus and the wise men, and we tell the story. And the children hold these. So get a creche that is a little not going to break on you right away. And they help tell the story. And then they wonder about, well, when did the wise men come, or why did they come? What's the star all about? What are these angels? What are these sheep? That for me is a way to access that lovely Jesus story. Make it human, make it beautiful, make it simple, make it wondrous. And then the story is on the night you were born. All right. Then there's always a visit from a baby for your children. That whole connection to the possibilities that young parents see when they have a new baby. The third and last lesson is called Winter Lights and Inner Lights. And I wanted to mention that there are two possibilities. One is Lights of Winter, which is a fine overview, but it's not as engaging, but it's the only one I've ever found about the lights of winter. And the second is Elijah's Angel, which can get very long. And so the kids know that sometimes I paperclip pages together, and they really get bothered if they know the story. But I give you permissions to make it a little shorter. There's a lot of narration. If you have an older group, fourth, fifth, third, fourth, fifth, they'll be able to sit through it. If you have first and second graders, you may want to use the Lights of Winter. That's a little tip. And then there's two activities for the third lesson. One is making a candle flame jump. This is from the Scientific American. And the idea is you can bring it close without touching once you've lit them the first time. And one candle will light the other just by being close. It has to do with the vapors going on. And so for us, it's that we can light each other's inner light by just being close and being present for our friends and our family. The second one is making stained glass cookies. And there's a picture of the stained glass cookies I made one year with the children. It's really cool because the Jolly Ranchers or Lifesavers that you put in the cookie dough frame will melt and create stained glass. And it's worth it. But I know not everyone can cook. So you have a couple of suggestions there. Then we have the multi-gen solstice resources. This is a not an order of service, but once again, building blocks for a solstice service that you might want to do. If you have for all ages, you might want to make the chalice snowflakes or solstice candles out of beeswax. And then the multi-gen no rehearsal pageant with a few other stories stuck in there. So that's it for this little overview. I wish you the best and happy coming up holidays. The thing I'll leave you with is one of my most memorable Christmas Eve services. Everything seemed to happen on those Christmas Eves. And one boy who was in the back row of the children's choir was not feeling well. We didn't know it. And he ended up losing his meal all over the girls in front with their cute little velveteen red velvet dresses. And I spent Christmas morning with the rented carpet cleaner cleaning up the vomit that had been left. And of course, everyone knew that this boy wasn't feeling well and they treated him very well, but it was a memorable Christmas Eve. I hope you don't have one like that. But now that the time has passed, it's one of those sort of no rehearsal Christmas pageant events. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next month.